You talk about these kids' ages, 13 years old. How does that make you feel when you hear now the whole Nickelodeon thing coming out?
It's sketchy. You want nothing bad to happen to them. You never want them to be upset or feel like they're at fault for anything that an adult has done on set. Like, there's that argument that kids shouldn't be actors in the first place.
Australians is huge, big.
Yeah, well, you hang around big guys.
Yeah.
That's your kind of your motto. That's your...
I guess, yeah.
That's your MO.
They just eat a lot. They're
Yeah.
like 6'3". I'm like, these Australians out of here.
Yeah, rugby players.
Yeah,
We play a lot of contact sports growing up. I think it's part of it.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I think it's we're a very sports heavy country.
You were a tough guy growing up.
I wouldn't call me a tough guy. I was the guy on the footy team that I wanted to play, but I wouldn't tackle anyone. Like, I would step out of their way and they'd run through and score a try. Like, that's kind of
They'd
my
be like,
vibe.
get this kid the off the team, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheer him on from the sideline.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you moved here when?
So I moved to LA when I was 18. So, yeah, 6 years ago.
Oh, so you started your career in acting
When I was 11. Yeah, I started when I was a kid.
Right.
And then when I graduated high school, I moved to LA pretty much right away. And then from there, I was there for 3 years. Then COVID hit, so I went back to Australia because I ran out of money. And then got a job in Philly. And I was there for 3-ish months. And I was going to just move back to LA, essentially, start over again. And then all of my castmates in that movie were from here. So they said, move out to New York. I was like, I moved to New York. And then my PA was from Jersey. She was like, just look at Jersey. I know it doesn't sound good, doesn't sound pretty, but just have a look at it. And I looked at a few apartments here and I just fell in love with it. I was here for 2 years and I just moved to Manhattan.
You were talking about Jersey before you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Wow.
I had no idea.
What was your perception on us?
Well, it was just like, as my perception of everything American is from movies and TV.
Right.
Like, it has to be. I moved to LA, didn't really spend much time outside of LA, and then I was in Philly, and I was like, because I've like, New York struck me as a very glamorous place. So I was like, if I was going to move to New York, I was going to move to New York. I didn't have enough money.
Right.
So that was essentially the reason to move to Jersey was because I had no money. I could get a much better, like a bigger, better place. And then over the last 2 years, I'm going to scream from the rooftops that Jersey is
I love Jersey.
one of my favorite places on the planet.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
It's
heard it here
incredible.
first, folks.
Which is a crazy thing to say. It's if you don't know Jersey, like, it's a mad thing to hear someone say that it's one of the best places on the planet.
But the reality is, like, again, because I agree.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey,
Yeah,
born and
of
raised, so
course.
I got to rep the brand. But
Yeah.
you hear about us and you think it's like the armpit of New York City or whatever. It's like the shit out of the stick. It's not, though. It's actually everything about New York City that's great, but then so much more. You're not going to worry about the nonsense going on in New York City day by day. It feels a little bit safer around here. More space to roam around. Better bang for your buck, but it's expensive over here.
Yeah, man, it's getting more expensive.
Jersey City.
It feels like again, I have no idea, but it feels like what Brooklyn was 10, 15 years ago when people thought Brooklyn was like on the rise. Now Brooklyn's as expensive as Manhattan. I feel like it's going to get that way in Jersey City and Hoboken. Again,
It's not worth it.
Like I lived in Jersey City. I agree with you that I think Jersey City and Hoboken have a lot of what people like from New York. There is a feeling that you get in Manhattan that is just like you can't replicate. But I think the benefit of like a Jersey City where you get the openness while you get the busyness as well, and being able to go to Manhattan whenever you want, but not paying the prices and not being so crowded. I think if you're a person that gets very overstimulated in Manhattan, Jersey is like the place to be because you can go if you want, but then you can just come home and like fall asleep in a much bigger studio apartment than you could get.
Right. How do they not, though? Like, how do you not get overstimulated by New York City? Well, let me ask you, as somebody that's from Australia, welcome everybody to the Johnny Drinks podcast. I'm with Nic Hamilton today, all the way from across the ocean. Well, not really. He was born in Australia and now he's here. We're talking about his journey over to the States. What was New York City like the first time you got there?
Well, yeah, I guess my first taste of New York was, I mean, way back when I took like vacations with my family, but then it was like touristy stuff. When I first moved to Jersey, and I would go into Manhattan a lot just because I thought that was the thing to do before I really started loving Jersey City and Hoboken. I would go into Manhattan a lot, and it was the appeal of it was being able to go into it and then like be overstimulated almost as a positive thing. Be like have the hustle and bustle around you and then go home. And that was
Yeah.
really nice. And like go home, like you get off the path station at like Newport and you're like, just a big deep breath and like everything relaxes. There's nothing's going to hurt you. Like,
Yeah.
and you just take like a walk back. Like I lived right next to Newport Station when I was here, and it's just big windows, like a nice like luxury apartment building. And like, it's I guess my first experience of New York was the difference between here and there. And now that I'm in it, like it feels very, it's interesting how it brings you in. Like it can be very overstimulating, but I think it's, especially if you have friends there, like I do, really good friends that have been there for a while. Once you know your neighborhood, your 4-block, 5-block radius, it feels very homey, weirdly, even though it is, millions of other people's homes as well.
Right. And it really is almost like, it's not a sense of achievement, but like you leave New York City, you're like, man, I feel good. Like I feel relaxed. You don't realize how relaxed you are until you peak that into like this crazy stressor.
Sure, it gives you something to compare it to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's up, everybody? Hope you're enjoying this episode of the Johnny Drinks podcast. Quick reminder, Johnny Drinks crew necks, still on sale, limited inventory, so if you want to grab one, hit that link in the description. But for now, keep enjoying the rest of this episode. Well, so, okay, Nic Hamilton, childhood star actor, now still actor, singer, content creator. Does being in this area inspire you?
Yes, yeah, I do think so. I think I didn't love the slowness of LA when I was there. I think
Slowness of LA?
Yeah, it's
Really?
just, I mean, it's so open, and it's so, I think people view LA as like it's just a hotter New York when it's just so different. It's so open. You have to have a car. It's so much harder to get friends and have friends because you can make plans with your best friend in 2 weeks in advance, and then that might still not happen. Like the day before, you're like, I don't really feel like it, and then you just don't. So you don't really see anyone like that, and it was a big. I thought I was going to move there and everything was going to come alive, like creatively, and I was going to get a lot of jobs and meet a lot of people and mingle, and didn't end up really doing that because it feels very cliquey and everyone's in their own little bubble, and you got the people that go to Sweet Green, that's all they do all day. Like they go to Erewhon and then they come back to their house and they don't see anyone for a week, and they're absolutely fine to do that. And I'm not that kind of person. Like I need to be around people to be happy.
You do?
Yeah, I do. So like New York is ideal. Like the difference is that I can text even an acquaintance, and if they have nothing going on, they're not going to say, I don't really feel like it. They will meet up with you and do anything. Like you could just like do an errand together. And I feel like that's so rare in other places, and because it's so easy. Everyone just lives like a 10-minute subway from each other.
It is hard to be bored around here. Like you said, like
It's impossible.
I could text anybody and be like, hey, you want to grab coffee? Like, I have nothing going on. Or even if you have something going on, you do it together. All right, so let's back it up. 11 years old is when you first started acting, right? Is that how long did it take you to get like your first big role?
So not big, but the first audition I happened to get, which was a Australian, it was a spin-off of H2O Just Had Water. You ever watched that like mermaid show when you were a kid?
No.
It's essentially, big nods. Essentially, it's a spin-off of that called, damn.
You don't remember it?
It's been 13 years.
You were on it.
Yeah, H2O Just Had Water. And there's a spin-off. It only ran for like 2 seasons. And I was in the 6th episode, I think, of the first season. And I had this whole story arc just across this one episode. That was my first gig ever. And then I got a short film that happened to do really well at a film festival that got the attention of kind of bigger agencies, signed with bigger agencies. And then my first movie was when I was 12.
Which was?
It's shit. It's called, it's incredible. I had an incredible cast. It was Nicole Kidman was my mum.
Wow.
And Joseph Fiennes, who is Ray Fiennes' brother, was my dad. And then Hugo Weaving was like the town cop. It was the middle of nowhere, Australia in the outback, a movie called Strangerland. And it wasn't a great like filming experience. It wasn't a great movie at all, but it was like my first big thing. Became good friends with Nicole, and then that kind of I did my first US tape when I was on that movie, and then got that, and we filmed that when I was 2014, which was kind of the first foray into international stuff.
Okay, understood. So you What made you even want to start acting at 11? Like 11 years old, I had no clue what I wanted to do. Did your parents push you to do
Yeah,
it?
well, I think it was pretty good time. I always say that, like, I wanted to act for sure, but I also wanted to do a lot of other things. I think I was just always just like this overachieving kid. And I did a school play. Like my tiny town school never did any plays, any extracurricular stuff. And we did this musical. It was within the musical there was a talent show for Jesus because it was a Christian school, and so that we're just like singing songs about Jesus and incredibly awful play and like really put together horrendously, but like, and no one wanted to do it because no one was like. So they made everyone audition because we had like 30 people in each year, so everyone had to have a role, and I was part of that, and I got the role of an Elvis Presley impersonator in the talent show for Jesus in the musical.
Hold on. Jesus and Elvis at the same time?
Yeah, well, Elvis was singing a song about Jesus, you see. And they're good friends. And essentially, it was a cover, it was a fake song, fake Elvis-style song called Jesus is a Friend of Mine. Okay. And then there was like backup girl singers going like Bapshuwadawa, Bapshui, that kind of vibe. Anyway, I did that and I loved it. And I didn't really expect to love it. And right around the same time, my parents were getting a divorce. So I think there was just a lot of like, just say yes to whatever the kids want to do. Their lives are falling apart. I'm not sure what my brother got out of it, but I essentially like, I was like, oh, I want to be an actor. Mum was like, we'll do whatever we can to make you an actor. Joined a agency, and Mum's always said like, again, and she folds into it. Like it wasn't an intentional, this is going to be Nick's career. Like Nick will do this hobby and then like, God forbid, I'm good at it. And then I got my first few auditions and then it just kind of went from there. It snowballed.
It was one of those things where like, I would assume you knew in the beginning. Like your mom's not going to push you to do something you sucked at.
Well, I mean, I was always like a dramatic kid. And like, there was a lot of like, you paid $500 for your first headshots and like a lot of the first, like that show I did and the short film were both unpaid. So my mum is obviously like taking a huge loss to do it. So I do view it as a an emotion-driven thing.
Right.
Like she just wanted to give me stuff at that point in time and I was very willing to take it. And I think, I don't know, maybe there was something within her saying that, yeah, maybe Nick could be good at this, but I don't think there was any bone in either of us. I thought it was going to like turn into as big of, I mean, it's my thing now. Like it's my career.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, it wasn't that, I would have seen like the opposite. Like they knew it was going well. You had something special. And they're like, you know what, we got to keep this thing going. But
it was that. Like once we knew it was happening.
It was pretty.
There was, yeah.
obvious,
like I got, you know, my first movie was with Nicole Kidman, and then everyone was just like, oh, shit, this is something.
He has something here.
Yeah. And then my next one was my first US gig, and that did really well at award shows.
What was that?
It's called Captain Fantastic. I played Viggo Mortensen's son, who was Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So it was me and five other kids off in like the Seattle wilderness. Great film. Very, very, I'll stand by that film because I don't remember filming it. So we shot that when I was 14 and then came out when I was 16. And when I was 16, I got It, which is my biggest job to date.
So 16 years old is what,
2016? Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. I thought you were 5 years younger than me. That's insane, dude. I'm already in college doing dumb college things, and he's acting as It. No, you're the bully in It.
I'm
right?
It, yeah, no.
Yeah, you are It. So sorry. So you get casted. Now I don't really know how this stuff works. Mm-hmm. Do you like apply for the job in general, and they say, hey, we think you could be good for this role, or do you apply for that role?
The majority of how it goes is that you have a team working for you. So that by that point, I had US manager and US agent who I'd gotten from my first US gig. And they just essentially, and it's that way to now, they'll email me about, it's essentially they'll put out a big casting call to all these big agencies, and then the agencies will go, well, this person fits this role, let's send them that, and then we tape for it. Especially since COVID, it's all self-taping. So I've been doing that since I was a kid because I live in rural Australia. So we were on a trip to London to visit my brother who was living there at the time. And we were going to surprise him, so we couldn't stay at his place or anything. We were in an airport hotel, and we woke up at like 3 a.m. because we were jet lagged, and Mum saw an email saying that we had to do this like urgent tape. I was like, fuck, I don't want to do, like, I've just landed for holiday, I don't want to do it. We did 2 takes of this one scene that they sent through, and I was pissy though. I was like, I just really didn't want to do it. turns out that that's kind of what they wanted.
I was just about to say, it's like that
Literally,
scene
it
from
just
Ted
worked.
where like he like tries to get fired and he's like, that's exactly what we want. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
pretty much
hilarious.
exactly that. And then that was probably one of the only gigs that only took one tape to get, which is nuts for Andy, the director, to like essentially see this really piss poor. We had a phone on top of 2 suitcases on top of a desk in a hotel room.
That's
at 3 a.m. And I'm just like, I didn't want to be there. He saw something in that to go, not only do we want to cast this guy, but I don't want to see anything more. And like that's, and I was from Australia. Like there was a lot more money to fly me over. They didn't have to give me that role whatsoever, but he fought for me. Same with Captain Fantastic. The director just fought for me specifically, which is what gave me my career and where I am now. Ever since then, I've just been doing gigs essentially, whether it be off talent or not. Like it's a lot of the opportunities were because of it and the exposure that gave me.
So, I mean, do you think it was one of those things where like he just had a vision in his head and like you matched it perfectly?
Must have been, Matty. I really haven't talked to him about it because I didn't want to talk about to him about it in the first movie because if he thought about it too hard, he could just send me home. But so I didn't want to question it.
Yeah.
But I'd love to ask him that question because I tell that in a bunch of press, but back in the day I told that story, and I really wish I'd asked him what he saw.
Yeah.
Because I guess it has to have been something. But like even I've watched that tape back, and it's not a good tape.
Do you have the tape still?
Yeah,
I want to see that.
It's not good. It's not impressive in the slightest. Like the actual talent shown, I would imagine if you
Do you have it on your phone?
No, I mean, it would be in the depths of.
We gotta dig deep.
I'll try
for
and
that
find
one.
it.
We gotta find that one.
I will try and find it, but it's like even the talent shown in it isn't like up to scratch. And there had to have been something there that. Because they very easily and should have cast a Canadian when we shot it, because we shot it in Toronto.
Right.
And 2 of the other 4 bullies were local hires from Toronto, and like so much cheaper for them to do that. They don't have to give them per diem, like cash per day. Like they spent so much more money on me, just completely unnecessarily. But I'm forever grateful for it.
I was gonna say it worked. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, mate. It worked out.
It goes on to be what? One isn't like the highest grossing
Horror movie of all time.
ever.
Yeah.
And there's how many it's?
2 hits.
And you were obviously in the first one.
I was in both, much less in the second, but I was in
Really?
both. Yeah.
What are you playing in the second one?
There's flashbacks from like because spoilers, my character looks to die in the first one, but actually survives, so it shows me surviving in the second one.
You ruined it for me.
Yeah, well,
I should have watched it.
yeah, you should have watched it. Well, you're interviewing me, so you should have watched it.
No, that's not. I'm kidding. So did you, I mean, obviously you have no expectations. You're doing this movie. Did you have an inkling that like this could be something pretty big when you guys were filming?
It was the first movie where like I would do events before the movie came out, but after we shot it, that people would ask me about it. And it was the first movie where people knew that it was coming out before
Really?
it came out. Like that I had experienced. Like I'd only done movies where I talked about them after the fact. And like to go to red carpets and them go, so you just finished filming this. So it felt like, and there was like fan pages popping up on Facebook, which in 2016 was a huge thing. And then it came out in 2017. So the teaser trailer was at the time the most watched video or trailer, I think, on YouTube in the first 24 hours.
Pull that up. I'm curious.
Yeah. So now it's like 7th because more people are on the internet. I think like the Fast and the Furious movie that came out the same year beat it like just after. But
Yeah.
it was 197 million views in the first 24 hours.
Holy, what was the reason for the hype?
I don't know. I still don't know to this day. Like there's such an aggressive fan base for most of Stephen King stuff, and a lot of it was I think it hit the sweet spot where Stephen King already has a huge following. The horror following in general is a massive, and then you have all these teen girls that like there was like 16 boys in it that were like 16 boys in it that were like would eventually become, you know, all of them are now like heartthrobs and like they're the next stars. And like for Andy to get and the casting director to get all those kids at that age, like before anyone really knew him, like Stranger Things came out when we were shooting it. So the episode 1 of Stranger Things came out and we were, you know, just hanging out with Finn. And then the day after it came out, I think it was the day after it came out, we all went bowling. And these 2 girls came up to Finn while we were bowling. He's like, "Are you from Stranger Things?" And I don't know if it was that night, but within a few weeks, he couldn't go outside.
Oh my God.
Like Stranger Things was the first big Netflix show apart from like, I think Breaking Bad made it.
I can't
maybe
imagine.
Like literally, it blew him up overnight, and he hasn't been the same ever since.
I was just going to ask you, how did he change at all? Like,
No, God, no. No, I love
Good.
Finn with all my heart. And he was just in New York. None of the kids have, which is incredible. Like, I think me as a 17-year-old would have came out, like, not fully mentally formed. It changes your whole perspective of the world, and, like, you're fucking... you're riding that high as much as you can, but they just didn't. Like, Jaden and Wyatt, who live in New York now, are two of my closest friends, and they, like, are very... just genuine. They've grown into very genuine boys, which is a very crazy thing to say. I'm 3 years older than them, but they're brilliant people, and they've stayed grounded. And as busy as they are, and as popular as they are, they're the same kids. They're the same souls as they had 7 years ago.
Do you think you helped one of those stay grounded?
No, if anything, I hindered it, because I think I view myself as, like, when we shot It 2, and I had the fortune of coming back to shoot It 2. Like, I think when we shot it, I was pretty, out of all of them, I was the most, like, excited that we had a big thing going on. They were just like, oh, we get to hang out with our friends again. And then 6 years has changed that for me, where I've gotten more grounded. So I don't think I helped them whatsoever.
You were instigating.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the interesting thing about the first one is that, so I was 16, the boys were like 12, 13. And I hadn't come out at that point, and I was essentially like, I was the older brother, like how to talk to girls guy.
Really?
Which, thinking about it now, is hilarious.
That's so, and you probably knew more how to spit game than any other dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because
but, like, even
it was
then,
easy
like,
for you.
2016, I'm not even sure if I knew I was gay or not. Like, I think I gave what I thought was genuine advice. It was probably fucking awful advice, but they've overcome that, and most of them have very good girlfriends now, and good on them. Like, I think
That's actually hilarious.
But yeah, that was like, I was the guiding force for, like, how to talk to girls, and, like, all, like, my girl stories, and they loved it. And then, yeah, I grew up to be, like, the gayest one of all of them. Anyway.
That's great, dude. I mean, it is like, I can't help but feel like, I don't know, almost like a little weird. Like, you talk about these kids' ages, 13 years old, surrounded by adults and producing videos and getting influenced to do and say things. Like, how does that make you feel when you hear now, like, the whole Nickelodeon thing coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to have, I think part of it was my mum was so present.
Right.
Like, I think early on we were both learning on the fly, which was a fascinating place to be. Like, I knew as much as my mum knew about that industry going into it, and I was 30 years younger than my mum. Like, but to have her eventually catch on so quickly, and to go, okay, I'm not going to leave Nick by my side. And, I've had other shoots, even more recently, that are like, there's kids on them, and there's this intrinsic, like, fuck, I need to protect this kid, because it is, it's not so much the absent parents, because they're not absent in the slightest. It's, they just don't know what they can do or what they can't do. I think the majority of parents, stage parents, it's probably how they get that, like, reputation of being, like, really overbearing. It's because they're so scared for their kids. They just have no idea what they can do, what they can't do. They don't know how they can talk to, like, if they talk to a producer wrong and their kid gets fired, like, that's on their conscience then. So they're walking on eggshells around producers and around a set. My mum caught on very quickly, and she was not overbearing, but very supportive, and very, she was that safety blanket that, like, my mum just, and probably helped, she, like, her first, like, her biggest kind of job since I was alive, she started a charity, essentially therapy for adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, if anyone was going to know what was happening and how to deal with that, it would be her. So no, I got very lucky that I had that, like, safety blanket around me, that I never really experienced anything like that at all. But yeah, no, you have this, at 16, I didn't have that, like, the want to be like a mama bear, but now I have that. Like, there's like shows I've been on recently that have kids on them that you want nothing bad to happen to them. You never want them to be upset or feel like they're at fault for anything that an adult has done on set. Like, it's sketchy. And there's that argument that kids shouldn't be actors in the first place. But
Well,
then,
I mean-
I don't know if I can make that argument because I'm
Right. How could you?
a product of it.
Right, correct. I mean, but do you think you catch on to things? Because you said a lot of the times these parents just don't know. Do you catch on to things that maybe are unnecessary, inappropriate, that producers, directors are doing that then you flag to parents? Like,
I guess so. I mean, I guess I have more of an eye for it
Yeah.
because I've gone through it for so long. But I don't think it's the not catching. I think, which is why, you hear stories about like the Nickelodeon stuff that's happening now, and like why didn't their parents get involved, and they should have been more present. But that fear that you being a diva parent or a stage parent, in the negative sense, could ruin your kid's career. Who, when your kid is a kid, all they think about is that's all they have. It's the same if your kid only goes to school and has friends at school and that's all they do, that's their entire life because they don't know anything more. So you have if your kid is an actor and their career is their entire life, if your parent then fucks it up for you, even if they're trying to be helpful, it's their fault. And yeah, it's not an absentee thing. But I do feel like maybe I have an eye for it more so.
because you're in it. I mean,
I guess.
But now I hear, because Drake Bell is the one that's coming out now with like this all crazy conversation. That's all I know. Do you know anything more about? Because
I haven't seen the show. I haven't seen the documentary.
Okay. But you know Drake and Josh, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Like,
I was just making sure.
yes, no, I've seen Drake and Josh. It is a little bit older than me. I think it's like 90s, but like early 2000s. But anyway.
Jesus.
I know of it. Leave me alone.
Oh, man.
But no, I haven't really seen the. I've heard of all the articles and stuff, and talked to my friends about it. Because again, it's the question that everyone has now. It's like you're a child actor. Have you ever experienced anything like that? And yeah, I don't know what the reason was, but I was never. It was never like inflicted upon me, that kind of stuff.
That's good. I mean, it's, as weird as it sounds, maybe 17 is like almost too old.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I was in it since I was 11.
Damn.
And there were definitely producers and weirdos on set. There's always weirdos on set. There's weirdos everywhere.
Right.
But I guess there was some sort of protection or some reason why I wasn't chased in that way. And there's I'd probably name a few guys that I could go, or maybe they would have if they had the chance to, kind of thing. But my mum just never left me alone.
Your mom.
That's I think it's the living alone thing, really. And I think, but maybe that's the pressure then of like a stage parent to go, well, my kid is having the time of his life. He's, this is his biggest job yet. He wants to have, these experiences. I should let him have these experiences with his castmates. So you leave him alone.
Yeah.
It's like, I could just come home whenever. And I think that's maybe where it gets tricky, because you want them to have those experiences, but then you leave them alone too much and then they're alone, But my mum, was very, when I was 16, 17, I viewed it as way too overbearing. Like, I really just wanted to have my own life. I've wanted to have that since I was 14. That's why I moved to LA when I was 18. I just needed to get away and have my own life. But like, looking back, like the security she gave me against whoever, whenever, it was pretty important.
I was going to say, is that recent that like you can reflect and appreciate what your mom did for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I moved 6 years ago from Australia, and like I see my mum once a year, twice a year, because it's just so far away.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to, like, especially through therapy and stuff like that, like to realize that we're so similar but so different. Mum and I, like, we're so similar to a fault, and we're so different to a fault. But then I think we got in a lot of arguments when I was a kid because we spent so much time together, and I think we're still both working through that now. But yeah, it's absolutely more of a recent thing to think about and be thankful for whatever she did to make me safe and make me still happy through that period.
Maybe that's, again, like you said, that's probably why you feel like this need to be the parent for these child actors or actresses that just don't have them.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, I've only had the opportunity to do it a few times, but like I don't necessarily feel like I'm doing it in a parental way. It's more of a sibling way. Like I'm not at a point where I feel like I can fully stand up for a kid, and I think there's also boundaries there where, like, if I was 13 and like my 19-year-old castmate was almost, I don't know, man. I think it's a brotherly thing. Like, I feel like there's just this, if you know that a kid is struggling, and you've been in their shoes before, there's nothing you can do but try to help them.
I was gonna say, I mean, do you know of any, like, can you reflect on, and I don't want to talk about like the inappropriate stuff, but things that you've done for younger actors that you knew they weren't going down the right path, that you kind of took them under your wing and helped them out?
Yeah, there is. It's few and far between, because again, I don't think I know everything at the slightest. I think while I was a child actor and they're child actors, like, everyone's life is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's certain people that, like, they've always, that I've gotten questions about, like, how do you, like, leave your parent? That's a huge part of it, because every child actor has to leave their parent eventually. And I think back then when I was 18, I found it very easy because I was, like, running away from that part of my life for so long. And then only now have I looked upon it, and, like, the way I just left and didn't take anyone else's, like, emotions into consideration was a tricky thing to do, and hurt more people than I think I desired. But you see some kids in, like, really overbearing situations where their parents are, like, they won't let them go. Yeah. When they turn 18, like, they won't let them, like, fly. And, like, there's really good examples of, like, Jaden and Wyatt, who moved to New York, and their parents are some of my favorite people in the planet. And they were with them for, I think Jaden and Wyatt have both been acting since before I was acting. So, like, when they were 7, 6, and their parents have been with them the entire time. And when they turned 18, they just let them go. And I can't imagine how hard that is for a parent to just go live your own life, go form your own career, start writing emails for yourself, which is the hardest thing. I got fired from my agency in LA the moment I moved to LA, because I'd spent 6 months trying to, like, wean my mum off the emails. And I was 18, I didn't know how to write an email. So it was all just in my own words and not in email speak. Yeah. So they thought I was a prick. And, like, I moved to LA, and they were like, yeah, we don't want to represent a prick anymore. I was like, I'm not a prick, I promise.
I'm a kid.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to like buy back that trust. But yeah, like the learning how to become your own person, especially when the majority of child actors don't then go to college, which is almost a middle ground. It's like there's 4 years of, like, you have your parents kind of as a backboard still. You often go to school, at least in the same country as your parents. You have that little backboard and maybe a financial backboard as well, definitely an emotional backboard that you can always go back to your mum's house. But when you're a kid actor, you go off and you're immediately like a 23-year-old. You're 18, but you have to get your own apartment, and you have to, again, find a way to, like, form your own team and talk to your team like an adult would. And, like, you grow up so quickly. And for a parent to just be able to drop their kid off at the pool like that and just go, okay, go do your own thing, and just hope they don't kill themselves is, like, pretty tricky. Dude. I don't know if I could do it. And my mum was able to do that. She hid her, like, I imagine the hurt that it caused me, just, like, leaving and wanting to, like, do my own thing and not caring about anyone else. And then I made all the mistakes that an adult should make. And luckily it didn't end in my death, any of them. I was like I made all the financial decisions that you shouldn't make. And I got very lucky that I moved to LA when I was the richest I've ever been to this point. Like, I got very lucky that, like...
You're saying?
A few movies in 2018. I moved at the start of 2019. And I just did, like, I bought, like, a way too big apartment and went out for dinner every night. Like, I made all those financial decisions. I was very privileged to be in a position where I could make those and still survive. I got one job between then and COVID. And then midway into 2020, I moved, or 2021, I moved back to Australia because I ran out of money. So again, like, I made all those mistakes, relationship-wise, financial mistakes. Again, still had the backboard to be able to go back to Australia and, like, live with my mum and until I got another job, and then I left again. And, like, I got very privileged that I was able to have those experiences and make those mistakes with not much repercussion. Right. Not many repercussions. And now I view myself, and I think one of the biggest compliments I can get is that as a 23-year-old, I hold myself at a higher age, which is tricky when trying to have friends at my age, because I don't really get along with people my age very easily. I think I have to, anyway. You grow up very quickly.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, was it hard to, like, find yourself and, like, form an identity?
Yeah, mate, if it's hard for anyone, like, being essentially alone and starting a whole new life at 18 is just immensely tricky. And yeah, I don't think I found myself for a long time. I don't know if I found myself until very recently.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
think I'm still looking. Like,
yeah, I'm 28. So
yeah,
I'm still
no, I think everyone is. Like, but I'm learning more adult ways to go about that and to kind of therapize myself and become the person who I would want me to be.
Did you have a problem with certain roles leaving that character on set?
No, not necessarily. I think no. I was always able to. I'm a very stubborn person, like, and that's part of this thing. The thing I'm trying to kind of wean off of. But like, I've always been very happy to be me.
Yeah.
So when I'm acting, I'm very thankful that I have the ability and the skill to be able to do that. But then at the end of the day, I want to be me, which is comforting. But it can also be, you know, there's parts of me that I don't love, and those are the bits that I'm trying to kind of work out while I'm also being these other people. So maybe it stunts your growth a little bit too.
Well, would your ideal role be like just the extended version of you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, ideal role's tricky, but yeah, I mean, my favorite kinds of roles to do are either the really out there, completely not like me characters, or yeah, essentially just me on a camera.
Which would be what? What would your just you on camera role be?
I mean, I've done a few indie movies that have like, it's more likely that you're just going to be kind of an extension of you. It's why you got cast in the first place. Yeah, I mean, just like a dramatic role that you can sink your teeth into, but doesn't take a bunch to turn into that person, that character. My dream role was always Marvel for so long, and then Marvel kind of went into the shitter, and now I'm like, I just want to do stuff that makes me happy and rich.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. You know, a lot of times like, people dance around the idea of like, I want to make money. The fuck is the point of doing
I need
work?
money, don't I?
Right, everybody needs money. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I
you
know.
should be doing something that pays a dividend in return. You know.
Well, it brings us onto like the creative stuff too. Like that was never. I never started doing the content for money. Like that was never. I never thought it would make me any money.
Yeah.
But it has been the reason that in these 6-month, 9-month spells without work, I've been able to pay the bills.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Quick reminder. Johnny Drink's Cocktail Smoking Kit is still on sale and available, but not for long. I think there's about 20, maybe 30 of these left, so if you want to grab one, hit that link in our description. But for now, enjoy the rest of this episode. Wow. Oh, my God, dude. I'd probably make more than most, you know, but anyway. So, yeah. Let's transition into that. So, it happens. That's your biggest role.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're living this high of high, kind of, like you said, transitions back to like a little bit of a sense of reality. Quarantine hits. Now, I'm sure it's way harder to find roles. You start making TikToks. Why?
Well, yeah. So I moved back to Australia. Did that job in Philly. It was the first job during COVID. And then, yeah, met my friends who made me move here. And essentially, as soon as I moved here, I've been making drinks since before it was legal to. So
Why?
When I was 18.
Just making drinks for no reason?
Well, no, I'll drink them.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, I drink them.
Yeah.
But I would, that was my kind of release almost at the end of the day. I was like able to wasn't ever the getting drunk, which was something I had to hammer into my parents' minds, that I was very capable, and I still am. And one of my proudest parts of myself is that I don't make drinks to get drunk. I don't drink to get drunk in the slightest. It's all flavors.
Right.
Like I really just enjoy making drinks and creating something. And it's very easy to create a drink rather than create like a dish. So I moved to New York, to Jersey actually. And then about a month later, I went to a premiere. It was an opening of a Broadway play. I wore a suit and I was like, I was going to make a drink anyway. I was like, I'll make a video about it and post it on, at that point it was on the Instagram, because I was like, I'd done a few videos for TikTok and I'd gotten a following on TikTok for the It stuff, because everyone just recognized me from It and were like, I was making some comedy videos, some music videos. But then I made a video of me making a drink in a suit in a very suave, not me voice. Edited it on the way to the show, posted it just before the show, and then when I woke up the next morning, it had gotten 1 million views.
No way.
Yeah, so that just turned into it's step by step. Like none of my careers I don't ever view as, well, maybe I can do this for the rest of my life. Like it's genuinely I made that video, I was like, okay, this did pretty well. Maybe there's something here that I can I really liked making that video, so I can just like do something that I like doing. The creator fund wasn't around at that time. Like I was not making any money from it.
Right.
I made another one. I think my 4th video is my highest streamed to date. And I think it has 6 point something million views.
Wow.
Which is my Manhattan video, which again, like that happened. And then for that point forward for like a few months, I would say upwards of 6 months, I wouldn't get a video without a million views. And it just kept going and going and going. I just, again, the creator fund wasn't around because I would have made fucking bank from that. But it was just to like, I really liked making drinks. I liked educating people on drinks. And I still do. I think that's part of why I love it so much is that I think the etiquette of drinking and the appeal of drinking that isn't getting drunk is quite elusive, especially to young people. Like the majority of young people that I've met, especially college people, are just drinking to get drunk. And like you drink to forget your life for a little bit and have fun. Of course I do that still.
Right.
But the point of it's like saying you only eat to get full. I think that's no one just eats to get full. You also want to eat a good meal. You don't just want to have like a slice of bread and chew into like a stick of butter. Like you got to make a sandwich because you want to eat something nice. It's the same thing with drinking to me. Like why would I take 3 shots of tequila when I can make 3 drinks with a shot of tequila in each of them that taste cool and interesting and fascinating? Like that's kind of what I equate it to.
It's a really good, and I've never heard that analogy, and that's an incredible analogy.
Yeah, it was like you drink when you're hungry, of course.
Right.
Sorry, you eat when you're hungry.
Right.
But it's never, the end goal is to never, unless you're ravenous and you've been stranded in like Antarctica for a week,
right,
you're not eating to fill yourself up.
Yeah.
Why would you drink to get drunk?
Dude, I think that message that you're sharing, and you don't even have to say that. It's not even in the words you're using. It's just the way you carry yourself on social media and in a space that everybody just copy and paste. Like everybody's just a different version of the next person. You're so different, and the reason that you're doing well is not the drink itself. It's just you as a person, your ability to storytell.
Sure.
You're creating something. Like you said, it could have been food. Food is a pain in the ass to make. We're taking it way longer. You pick the easier route, but you use storytelling and the effects, and you're great. Do you edit all your stuff? Mm-hmm. That is incredible that you're able to learn how to edit, because I watch your stuff and 2 minutes go by, I'm like, that was a great fucking video. Like that was really well done.
Cool. Thank you, buddy.
So I enjoy watching your stuff, and I think that's why you can take off for 4 months, come back with a video, and it still performs really well. Yeah,
which I am very grateful for, because if I did videos essentially until I got a job, and I was off in Toronto for 3 months, and I couldn't film. I didn't want to film. I also think there's a respect thing with like, if the producers of that show saw that I was making drinks videos with my time off, it's like I want to devote my entire time to that show. So I did that for 3 months, and I made one video in the interim responding to a comment saying, are you dead? And I just walked past the camera and said no. And that got 600,000 likes, I think. It's just like this, but it's just this like, it's this.
Is that all you said?
Yeah. But it's just the knowledge that like, I think what's interesting about TikTok compared to other social media platforms is that on other platforms, for some reason, you're more cognizant when someone hasn't posted for a while.
Yeah.
Like in like an Instagram or even Twitter. Like if you scroll through your feed and go, I haven't heard from that person in a while, that's crazy. Whereas for some reason, I guess maybe on TikTok, you see videos that were posted now in March, you see them posted in January.
Yeah.
Like I could scroll past a video today that was posted in January.
Yep.
So I think people forget, like they see you every now and again on their For You page. And then even when they don't see you on their For You page, say you weren't posting and I post after a 3-month break, they go, I haven't seen you on my For You page for a while. They blame it on the algorithm, not you.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So I kind of play on that. It's like very easy for me to like, and I'll make some videos of like, oh, I'm back, and that they do better because everyone doesn't realize that they've missed me.
That is it again, it goes back to like your ability to storytell.
Sure.
If you can make something up and be like, I took a hiatus for this reason, but people have to know that. And we've never left, but we get it all the time where it's like a video pops off, does really well. It's like, oh man, I haven't seen these guys in a while.
Yeah.
Where have they been? You could take that, twist it, and be like, oh, we've been doing this, but thanks for joining us again. Because whatever you got to do.
Employment.
Because like you said before, when people are just posting for the sake of posting, it's like this constant battle of like the diminishing return of seeing your face every day. You like you less and less and less, or you got to stay relevant and keep my name in your mind. You know what I mean? So it's a very hard balance. But I guess for you, it's like a second priority.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never seen, again, I think that's part of it, is that in no way do I view the content creation as my job. If anything around drinks is my job, it's like if I was to do a book, which I'm doing, that releases next year, like that.
Oh.
I've talked about it before. It's not a scope, I think.
Damn, I thought
maybe it is a scope. We'll see. So that I really have enjoyed writing because it's...
You're writing the book?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not. What do you mean?
I would have somebody else write it.
Well, right, a ghostwriter? Yeah. No, I couldn't do that. I have too much. I'm a control freak. But like, I think part of the reason, again, they don't watch the videos for the drinks. They're not going to buy the book for the drinks.
Yep.
They're going to buy it for the big chunks of text where I'm talking in the language that my character, in quotes, is in the videos. Like,
and I don't know if this is what you're doing, but all 2 cents. I was talking to another YouTuber. He does storytelling. So he literally will either make up or it's real stories of like scary stuff, you know, and it's like, he's a really, really good storyteller. When he does, to make sure that the script is exactly in his words, he'll lay down on the floor, he'll close his eyes and he'll tell the story. And I'll have his girlfriend type up exactly word for word what he's saying.
Right.
And then he'll say it right back.
Brilliant.
Because it has to be hard for you to say, like, man, I had a shit day. To write that out and be like, man, I had a shit day, period. Normally, you wouldn't write that in a book, but you want it to sound exactly like you. I want to almost hear your Australian accent when I'm reading it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's... so I wrote out the manuscript and then we pitched that out to publishers. And the main thing that we got back when people were wanting to buy it was, like, the language. Like, they were just like, it's the enjoyment that people get from the videos and why the videos still do well 2.5 years in is the character that I bring to it. And I don't ever... Because I think one of my director friend of mine, when he saw the videos early on, he was like, it's not you. Like, it's a completely different character. And I got quite offended by that.
The book he read?
No, the videos. He watched the videos and he was like, it's just, you know, like, it's fine. Like, it's very entertaining, but it's, you know, it's not you. I was like, I got very offended by that. And then looking back, like, even now, like, it's so obvious that while it might be an extension of me and it's a heightened version of me, it is not me. Like,
but that's the reality.
Of course. It's not a bad thing at all. Yeah. Like, it's just, you know, the people have fallen in love with the character of Nic Hamilton, the guy who makes drinks. Yeah. Like, that's, if you were to come to my place and I was to make you a drink, it wouldn't be in the style of that video whatsoever.
Right.
Like, it's for content. It's for entertainment. And, like, I think even now, like, we're making content in a way, but I'm not that guy. I'm talking to you like I'm talking to a friend. Right.
That's an interesting... I mean, it is. It's hard because I know you from off camera, on camera, and I watch your stuff and I'm like, man, he knows exactly what he's doing. Because this would be good if you had, you know, a cocktail setup, like, hey, I'm going to be making a whatever today.
Yeah.
But it's not... You have 5 seconds to grab somebody's attention.
Yes.
You know, so you have to... And you have 30 seconds to keep it. So it's like, you got to be entertaining for that entire time. And us having an hour conversation, there's inevitably going to be points where it's like, all right, a little bit lower vibrations in here, but that's okay. We're going to pick it back up. He needs to be on the entire time.
No, and I would never force myself to do that, which is I enjoyed writing the book because I was able to spend chunks of the day being that character and writing in that character, and then I can step away. And it's not just if my entire personality was who I am on videos, I think people wouldn't like me. Like, I think in real life, if you met that guy, it would be exhausting to be around.
Dude, I've met streamers before.
Oh god,
whether they're turning it on. So
for that's tricky, right?
Bro, I'm like, that's even
stream 8 hours a day
because they have to lose themselves. Like, at least with an actor, you're getting offset.
Sure.
These guys never get offset. They're always on, and
there's the guys that stream when they sleep
or taking a shit. There's literally people that stream.
It's just like 24 hours.
It's insane
because there's money in it, which makes sense.
But that's got to be the craziest addiction to know, like, I can turn this camera off right now and be myself, but that money is, I literally see it coming in.
Yeah. How do you stop? You're draining all the money. Yeah. No, I imagine that would be an addiction.
That's got to be, I mean, and we always talk about it on this podcast because we have a lot of creators on, is like making sure your character is just an extension of who you are, not a different person.
Sure.
So like I meet you, I know you're not going to be, let's make a drink. Like I get that, but it's not a completely different person.
No, it's not a departure. I wouldn't say.
Which is good.
And then again, like it wasn't the intention. Like the first time I made that drink video, like I fully, for some reason, believed that like I wasn't playing anyone in that video, in that first video, and the emotion and the vibe of the videos have changed entirely. If you watch that first video, it's so slow and so like I'm really guiding you through the cocktail. It's very suave and like maybe that's who I was 2 years ago, but I can't remember. But like now, it's much closer to me now. I would say it's heightened and like the pacing is very quick and the cuts are very quick, almost intentionally to get people more involved in it. But it's also how my mind kind of works like that. Like I get a lot of more satisfaction about from watching the videos that I make now compared to 2 years ago.
You like your videos better
exactly.
now.
It's like the videos that I would want to watch. Like it keeps me engaged. It's not really about the drink, but if I wanted to make the drink, you could save the video and make the drink later if you wanted to. But it's not about that.
Right. You look at it's actually incredible to watch the attention span evolve, or what's the opposite of evolve? The opposite, devolve from like here to now here. Mm-hmm. You got to make a video in 15 seconds, an entire meal. You watch these guys make literal meals and they're slapping together in 15 seconds. Yeah. And that will perform way better than the minute video. But like 2 years ago, the minute video would have been perfect. Yeah. And now you see TikTok like really trying to push it.
Which is interesting. Yeah. They're promoting the 1 minutes because they want people to be on the app for
Dude, I make a longer than a minute video. My shit's boring. I watch, I'm like, who's watching this shit? I can yawn watching my stuff. Yeah, interesting. But if I chop it down to like what I know is a good video, I'm like, that's what hits.
Yeah. Would you rather do that then? Like to keep the quality and stay away from the money thing?
Listen, the money is not that it's irrelevant, but like you said, like I need to feel a confidence and like conviction in my content. I'm not... Because there's so many different ways to make money. If the only way you're making money is through these platforms, I hate to break it to you, you're on thin ice because this platform can go away in a day.
Brand deals like is really the only way. You can
exactly, and the money that's where it really is. But aside from that, like I want to enjoy my own content. I want to feel proud of what we put out, and if I'm just stretching it out to a minute and 1 second, listen, if it's working, great. If it feels like a good video, it's fine. Sure. But I'm done because I fell into that trap of like, all right, every video has to be over a minute. And I'm like, dude, I went a month and I was never really happy with any content put out there. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't care what that second mark looks like anymore.
Yeah. So no, I think I get lucky where I legitimately don't think I could edit my videos to less than a minute.
You storytell though. That's the difference. Like you have like you have a good way of doing that. Like if you were talking about your recent move or something, and you're like, let me update you guys on my life, and you're making a cocktail.
Talking while doing it. Yes. I think that's my niche, which I don't know if I actively realized until recently, but like I guess there's a part I know, and it's all fabricated in a way that like the stories of like me moving in and like I had this recent storyline in quotes where my lamp that I had in the back of my videos, I moved out of my Jersey apartment into my boyfriend's apartment for a few months, and he just didn't have like the room or the spot for the lamp. So I made this whole storyline where I threw the lamp out.
I saw it.
Which was, that was the best performing video in a long time, just because it was like this emotional attachment that people didn't realize that they had to this lamp. Then I moved to Manhattan and then bought a whole new lamp, but acted as if it was this guy coming back. And it went really well because it's like, it's why I have all these bits, like the hey cheers and I've got glasses on, like all these bits that make people feel like they're in something.
Yep.
And if you're not, if you hear me say it and you look at the comments and people are all talking about it and you go, oh fuck, I don't know about this. I need to know about this. I need to be in with everyone else. I think that's really helpful too. As long as you have your dad has like the ring on the bottle thing. Like it's just having a thing or multiple things where like the hey dad thing. Like it's just very similar. Like if people know about it, you know about it, and if you don't know about it, you want to know about it.
Right, and it's one of those things like either it kind of comes from them saying it.
Sure.
Like the ring tap for us and the hey dad for us. Like that wasn't planned.
Yeah, no, of course. None of my stuff was either.
People just, as soon as you said I have glasses on, people caught on to that, and now you say it, but sometimes you don't say it, so they're waiting for it. And then, like you said, if they're not up to date, they now have to go back to the other content and be like, wait, what does that really mean? What's the meaning behind? Yeah. Is there a story? And they're like, oh, I went through this rabbit hole to find out he just fucking said it in a video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's literally where it all started. Like I think in the first video, I think I said I was about to take a sip, and then I went to the camera and said, hey, cheers. But now that's turned into just every time I take a sip, it's hey cheers. Like it's become the saying rather than anything with meaning. Like it's the same thing with like I've got glasses on. Like I made the best performing videos at the start. I had no glasses on, and then the first video I made where I just happened to wear my glasses in. At the end of the video, I walked back around the corner where I left and said, "Oh, I've got glasses on," just because I thought it was interesting. Right. And then that caught on, and then I've been doing that in every video since. And now I wear my glasses in every video since.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, it's these little things that like, I mean, I made merch very recently, like these glasses, like drinking glasses, because I started again off the top of my head saying. And before we take a sipsy doozy, we'll clean up a little bit because we're respectful in this house, which is another thing that we've added that came out of nothing. But like the sipsy doozy, I've got sipsy doozy glassware. Like that's merch now. And like these little things that I have now compiled to essentially what is a minute and a half long video of those bits, essentially. And there's some story in between it for like the new stuff. But like the videos nowadays are, I make a drink, I say what the drink is going to be, and then in between the pouring of the ingredients into the shaker, I do the bits.
And that's important because again, you got people looking for it. And I think every creator should have something that makes them in a world that, like we said, is just all copy and paste. Honestly, I don't blame people. If you know, like an intro shop, I was making sandwiches, and you got a big old fucking fat sandwich, and you throw it into the screen. That's gonna attract people to watch that video. You should do that, but then you should also have things like Nick DiGiovanni throws the knife down, and I'm waiting for that when he does it. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that carries over to when the fad dies out, right? That trend is gonna fade one day, and people are gonna move on to new things. And your brand value isn't that high. Yeah. If all you're doing is the reason why your video went viral is because of that sandwich and you're never really in it, what's the difference between you and the 1,000 of other people that are doing the same thing?
That's why Nick's such a big deal with like, he's done these bunch of videos with all these celebrities because his face is the thing. Right. The camera is panned up, not just from the counter, it's to his face making the stuff. Yeah. Like, I think there's a few creators even in the drink space that have realized that. Like I'm really excited about join Jules. She's getting much more into like the face forward stuff, and people are noticing her face more, and that's really exciting because she's always been this incredible creator, and her drinks have been gorgeous, and I can't wait for her book to come out.
She has a book coming out?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she's like, she deserves it, and like obviously she's like probably doing all the photography herself because she's like, her main thing for so long was just look at this drink being made, it's very pretty, and she gained a massive following off of that. And I think she did a few videos with her face like about a year ago maybe. And they happen to do well. And then because people know her more, it's more enticing to then bring her on like brand trips. Like she has a big thing with Cointreau. And like, because the brands want, even if they post an Instagram story on Cointreau's Instagram story, if Jules is in it, and people know Jules' face, then great. Then it's much more of a draw. Whereas if it's just a photo of a drink, then you're not really getting much out of that. Right.
And I love Join Jules. We talk a decent amount. She's great. Who are some of your other favorite cocktail creators?
This is one of my favorite conversations.
You're waiting for it.
I love it. Well, we have mutual friends, obviously, like Wu-Tak.
You don't got to mention him. That's how, what's funny? Joe was his old podcast guy.
Well, with me and...
that's my best friend first.
Wu-Tak's my homie. I'm waiting for Wu-Tak. If you're out there, man, please answer my texts, answer my calls. Maybe we can get you on the podcast one day. I'm gonna reach out to your assistant because clearly you don't answer me. But.
He's got like 7 businesses now.
We were just talking about. Dude does everything every day.
That's those. I'm not gonna call them drugs, but the supplements are like the hangover drugs.
Super Bonsai, man. They are drugs. They are magical.
Incredible. Like he sent me a bottle, and I'm genuinely like it's my go-to. Yeah. It is.
Wait a minute, bro. It dead ass is that because I found myself pushing limits the other week. I was like, let's see how far I can go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I went far, and I was like, that should never happen again. Yeah. So I blame you, Wu-Tak, for that one. So Wu-Tak is
Wu-Tak's. I mean, obviously, he's like him and I have made some really fun videos together. Back when, like, before I started making videos, like again, like I've loved making cocktails since pretty much right when I moved to LA. And it was just like a personal hobby. So I would get really into the YouTube creators. So there's people like how to make is it How to Drink?
He's the best. Yo, he's awesome.
Who's the best?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. We've talked a few times on Instagram. Anders Ericsson is very similar. Anders Ericsson.
Yeah.
Who's the best? I think he is one of the most underrated creators. Like he really doesn't get many views nowadays, and his video style is incredible. I just met when I was in LA. Educated Barfly. Have you heard of his stuff?
Educated Butterfly?
Barfly.
Barfly.
Yeah, so he's been
You know him too?
The name is he, so.
Oh yeah. Can you pull him up? I want to see if I've seen.
You'd know his face, I reckon. He's been him and How to Drink and a few others were like the first like drinks YouTubers essentially to kill. Like I remember watching How to Drink's videos. There he is.
Oh yeah.
He's massive. And I just met him in LA. I was at a bar and he happened to be there. I was like, oh, I'm a big fan. He was like, oh, I've seen your TikToks anyway.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. Like boys like that who are just so, again, the stigma of drinking to get drunk is quelled when you have people like that making videos, because it's these people that are making really cool cocktails that make people interested. One of my favorites right now is I don't know his real name, More Savory Goods on Instagram. Yeah.
Pull him up.
He makes essentially the fanciest of the fanciest cocktails, like a bunch of milk punches, and like he makes all the like the top bars around the world. He makes drinks from their menus, and like it's obviously very intricate and like very not drinks you would make at home necessarily.
Right.
But it showcases the art of the cocktail.
There's no face.
So it's like it's all
Click on a video because I've definitely seen him.
like the his voice is kind of where it's at.
Yeah, let me hear the voice.
Super simple, super floral.
What the fuck? How is he? Is that a table?
Milk punch and tea.
Bro, I sometimes think I'm a good creator, and then I see people like this, and I'm like,
But he's
man.
incredibly talented. Well, but the thing about people like that is like, no one's going to make those drinks really. Like I went through his videos this past week. I was like, I really want to make one of these really cool drinks. I went through like 12 of them. I was like, I'm never going to make.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a whole day making a drink, which I like. I think I used to have that drive, drink making. Now I just want to have like a really good drink, the easiest I can have it, which is a lot of what the book is about, like how to make the best drinks in the easiest way kind of thing. But like I love his content. I think he's like, again, educating people on the art of cocktails without making it this pretentious mixology thing.
Yeah.
Which I think it can get stuck between, again, you've got dive bars that serve whiskey sours with a quadruple shot just to get you drunk. And like, then you've got the high ends, like the crazy bars in Manhattan where you go essentially knowing you're going to spend 70, 80 bucks on 3 drinks, but you know they're going to be the best drinks of your life. And that can be viewed as very pretentious and a very out of a lot of people's budget thing, which it absolutely is. But it's tricky when you're caught between those two worlds of either you go out to get drunk and you have shots, or you go out and it's really overly pretentious and you feel kind of uncomfortable in the space. There's no real middle ground.
Yeah.
And if there is, which there is, it's not known to people. And I think perhaps the social media drink makers are the ones kind of bridging that gap.
Bridging the gap, yeah. I think How to Drink is the best at. He feels so casual because he's so open to like admit he'll fuck up on camera.
Yeah.
He don't care.
That's great.
And he's so good at telling stories. Like he has a line for everything. He's so casual about it. But then he goes on, like he knows his shit. Yeah. He must have been a bartender prior to.
I don't think he actually was. I think I remember seeing, so that's what I was going to say, his first videos when it was like really kind of low budget, and I think it was like 2017, 2018 when I started watching him, and then I stopped watching him for a long time, and I came back and he was like super high quality,
awesome.
like produced stuff. I think I remember in the first videos, it was essentially like his way of almost teaching himself.
Like learning?
He like taught himself how to make drinks, and then he was teaching other people how to do the same.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny. You mentioned it's hard for like these longer form YouTube creators like transition into the short form space, which is pretty funny. Like I don't see any of them that are doing a really successful job.
Educated Barfly has a TikTok, and it's like, again, like his YouTube still does really well, but like it's really tricky to translate that to short form.
It's different, dude. Like I chop
different.
up my long form videos into like segments.
Yeah,
we've maybe had like 3 out of however many I've made do really well.
Yeah.
The other ones will flop, like literally get a couple thousand views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just not transitioning over.
I think it's just it's in general videos that take less effort do better on TikTok, just in general.
It's a weird,
because it's
yeah.
YouTube in a way, but really TikTok made it so just your everyday Joe could be a star for a day, and like you could like anyone can make a video and get 10 million views. Anyone could just, you'd have to have an interesting concept, but it's the higher produced stuff, which is interesting that like like a common comment on TikTok is like, I didn't know I subscribed to TikTok Premium. Right? When like when you watch these videos that like are obviously probably made for YouTube or made for even like a short film, like it's really high quality.
Yeah.
That would just posted on TikTok as almost like an afterthought. Like they might do really well, but it's because the novelty is that they're really high quality.
but you can smell it. Like, you know, when it's
Yeah.
just a chopped up version of a longer form video that never
Yeah.
do well. Like, I've tried several times, like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna go with a camera now and I'm gonna have somebody else edit it. And it's just like, I think also what happens is the platform gets used to one thing.
Yeah.
So my intro and your intro, very similar every time,
Sure,
right? And if it's not that intro, the video can be the exact same and it
Yeah.
completely bombs. It's
Yeah.
very interesting how the platforms work.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have one option of being super home video style-esque, like with the, chopping up and using the text in the app and stuff like that. But if you're gonna go the crazy higher end production, you have to make it for short form. Like the guy that does, I forget his name, he does like the crazy chocolate creations. He makes like, what the fuck's his name?
Like the French guy, right?
That's got to be the craziest stuff I've ever seen. He makes like dragons and stuff out of this chocolate.
But I've seen him on Facebook for years and years and years.
Oh, so he's been at the game.
So I
yeah.
feel like but again, it's long form, right? In a way, because the video is like 3-4 minutes long.
It's crazy though, dude.
But I've seen him have viral videos on Instagram and Facebook for years, and it's never felt like they're always landscape. They were never portrait. They was always very intentionally that. And then I really only recently saw him start posting on TikTok, and it's fascinating that they do well. But again, you just have to have a thing. Like, it's a novelty thing that people don't see these really high quality chocolates being made every day. So if you see something like that, you're gonna like it no matter what.
Dude,
whether
that's the next level shit.
Yeah.
It's also like people almost get weirded out when you start doing something like if they saw you in a different form, like a higher quality video, or you're standing next to somebody else and you're behind. You'd be like, wait, who is this? I don't know this guy, and I get freaked out about it.
Which is scary when there was the opportunity to diversify fairly quickly. Like whether in the first 5 videos of I'm going to make a drink, I diversified and did something, I'm going to do something else. Maybe that would have made it so it was more kind of a me thing. But I think even, I don't know, I guess I haven't experimented really much with like fucking around with it because I know that it works.
Yeah.
And I think what I admire about you guys is that you do fuck around with it quite a lot. Like it was like 6-9 months ago when I saw a lot of... there were videos that maybe might not have done as well, but you were trying a bunch of stuff. I don't have that in me to like fuck around with it too much. Like I know that like I did. I think I've got kind of 3 kinds of videos where I'm going to make a drink, which is the main one. I'm going to drink a drink, which is when I do like the taste tests. I used to do a lot more of those, and they used to do well. I did one recently, didn't really do very well, which again, you can maybe chalk down to I'm going to drink a drink, and it's different, and people just go, fuck off, I don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah.
And then I've just started doing the ones where I go out to a bar and I do I make the drink at the bar behind the bar with someone.
I haven't seen
which
those.
I wanted to start doing those a lot more in Manhattan.
You
that did all right.
You got to hit up Blue on the Hudson.
Yeah.
Do it with Jeremy. Do you know Jeremy
No.
LeBlanc? Dude, so you want to talk about a mixologist? That dude is next level. I'll give you his contact after
please.
this. But he looks real cool. He's a French guy.
Yeah.
That would be a sick place for you to go.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm happy to join you.
So I just want to highlight. I mean, it's like it's as long as it does well. Because again, like I have this fear that like, especially with the book coming out, if I do anything to fuck it up now,
Isn't that
it
scary?
would be the worst. It's like until May 2025, until the book comes out and I've satisfied all the people that I need to satisfy, I can then either stop posting for the rest of my life or try something different.
Well, think about it. And we've all gone through it. Like there have been moments in our content creation career, like at our height of viewership, if we were to sell something, it would have been incredible. But then there's opposite, and it has nothing to do with follower count, right? Like if I launched a book in a month that for the past 3 months just nothing was hitting, that would flop, right? So it's a scary. You almost have to time it for when you know your content is doing really well. Like maybe you can launch the book today, but you want to give yourself kind of runway to launch,
exactly,
and then you can fuck around with different stuff. So. That for us, again, we picked the name Johnny Drinks because that was our first video. If our first video is food, we'd be Johnny Eats right now.
Yeah, fascinating.
And our biggest videos, literally our biggest video, one is a drink. The second one is my dad teaching me how to shine a shoe.
Cool.
Nothing to do with drinking.
Right.
And for whatever reason, people like the father and son dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing goes with you. And I wanted to ask you, like, if you weren't making drinks, what do you think you would love making content about?
I don't know, man. Like, so before I was doing the drink stuff again, like it was like here and there. Every few weeks on a whim, I would post a music video or a comedy video, something just like a commentary. But like, I don't think I would be if I wasn't doing the drink stuff again. Like, because it wasn't intentional. Like
Really?
I made the drinks video because I wanted to make a drink and it looked good, and I was like, let's make a video. and I did really well. And so I've just ridden the coattails of that for the rest of my life. And I think I've always done that. Like I did music, like I've released an EP and 2 other singles, and then those 2 last singles were supposed to be on another EP, and then I released the second one and I was like, I don't really have any other songs that I want to put out. So I just stopped.
Really?
And I might get back into it, maybe, but like I don't have any desire to do anything that doesn't bring me joy, which is can mean that my bank account can look pretty frail at times. But like if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, then I don't want to do it. And I think that's there's conversations between like my friends and I and like other people close in my life that have like regular jobs that they hate, and I'm just like, I know I'm in a very privileged position to be able to only do what I want to do. But I really, if there's any way anyone can do that without truly jeopardizing their life, it makes a world of difference to enjoy what you're doing.
It's a really good point that like you speak to your friends that hate their job and you have like this sense of guilt that like, man, I should suck it up and just do things I hate.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. Like you said, you said you were privileged and blessed.
Yeah.
But you've earned it. You know what I mean? You've been working since 11 years old
Sure.
to get to where you are today. You were doing things in quarantine, making videos that everybody else was kind of just fucking around. So you kind of earned your place that you can either choose to do the stuff you hate and kind of suck it up, or say, I don't really feel like it right now. And you seem very free flowing. You know, you don't really put too much care into that fact. You kind of acknowledge it.
Yeah, no, I do, and I'm fully aware that I'm able to do that for certain reasons, and like, and I think the world would be a better place. I think there's so many, like, there's this argument of, and there's always going to be like old people to young people, that everyone's becoming a content creator now, and there's not going to be fucking welders in 10 years, but welders are gonna weld, man. Like there's 7-8 billion people in the world. Like there's gonna be people that aren't making funny faces on TikTok.
Though you think there's so many because that's what you see. There's plenty of people that would rather weld.
But fuck, man, if 1 billion people just do TikTok for the rest of their life, then we have a lot of TikToks to watch and we enjoy ourselves and they enjoy making them.
That's it.
So fuck it. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Like we're all having fun.
You know what it is? I mean, it does level the playing field because back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, a content creator was pretty rare and they were making millions and millions of dollars, where now it's becoming more of a legitimate job. Like you want to talk about a career, and I'm talking about like making a salary of like, I don't know, 70 grand to like get you kind of by.
Yeah.
That's way more common now than it ever was. Like this middle ground of, yeah, I do it as a career, but I'm not uber rich driving Lamborghinis.
Sure.
And that's the difference. I think people think, oh, he's a content creator or she's a content creator, they're making millions. Like, no, they could just be getting by, but they're way happier doing this for 70 grand than working a 9 to 5 for the same pay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's fine.
Which is interesting though. Like I the majority of people I see on my For You page are people making videos at work. Like they have a 9 to 5, but they're just like, they're on their lunch break and they talk about something and it just happens to make 600,000 likes. And
It's
like,
irrelevant.
Yeah, and they're not going to chase that for the rest of their life. They're not going to, hopefully, like, I think we still have some common sense where, like, if you make 100 videos and 3 of them goes semi-viral, you're not going to then chase that for the rest of your life, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Because, like, again, I don't think I ever took that first viral video to go, oh, I'm going to make viral videos for the rest of my life.
It's a hard balance, man, because, like, I would never tell somebody not to do something, right? Yeah. But at the same time, everybody that I've talked to that has found, like, actual success with content creation, it came to them. It was you have something special that not a lot of people have, and people are going to be obsessed with the content you make. Whereas if you just love making drinks, and I was like, hey man, good luck. It may take you 1,000 videos to get to that one that now people appreciate, or you never fucking get there. And maybe you stay like in that middle ground of a couple thousand views here and there, and that's a tough place to live.
Yeah. No, it coming to you is super important. I think that's
you got to know.
I think chasing that fame, even in acting, like I didn't start acting to be a big actor. Like I thought I could do it, and I had the support to do it. I started releasing music because it was like my journal, and I was like, I started writing songs way before I started releasing songs. I'm like, that's just, it's this natural progression that I'm like, oh, maybe there's a career in this, that it's this thing that I really enjoy doing.
So you're not trying to make a career out of singing?
I was thinking at some point, like, again, I've always said that I have however many 4 or 5 careers that are all branched off from each other. That like, if I got a movie tomorrow that changed my life, you know, I might use that success to make more books or get more success on TikTok. But I think my main desire then would be to chase that, because that's the thing that's doing well for me at that moment. And then if I do a really big job and then for some reason don't get another job after that, I'll chase the TikTok stuff more or whatever just comes to me at that point. And I think that's where I sit, that like I'm so happy in everything that I do that if I have one thing do really well, I wouldn't be worried about just chasing that.
It's so like that's why perception or perspective is so important and interesting, because like one person can see your situation and like the indecision and like the not knowing would drive them crazy, and they have like this crazy anxiety, like I don't know if I should be doing this or that, and I'm kind of waiting on one thing to pop off, where you're like, something's gonna happen. I'm good. I can rely on the fact that I'm really good at like 5 things, right? Content creation, acting, singing, book writing, whatever it may be. And again, you just accept that. But a lot of times, like even me, I got to be like hard pressed on this is what I'm doing. I got to lock in, or else I'll sit back and just be like, oh, I'm kind of floating in this limbo stage. Yeah. So I applaud you for being able to kind of do that.
Thank you, Matty. Well, I do think, again, like it's this this privilege that I think the majority of stuff that has happened to me, I haven't chased, that it like has kind of just happened to me. So I have this like existential like, well, it'll probably just happen again. Like hopefully like I haven't worked. I did a show, an Amazon show, start of last year that should have got to season 2 by now. We were all kind of just banking on that. It's like probably will just get a season 2. Hasn't yet. Really? And like it might, but it might not. And like I have this like gut feeling that again, like the book thing, I'd written a book because I wanted all of my cocktails on my computer so I could easily access them. And then I was like, oh, I'll just like see if I can like actually create a book around this and print it for my house, just to have in my house. And I made it. I was like, that's pretty good. We'll shop it around to people. And then the publisher bought it and now we're making it. Like, I
think your book is going to do super well from, again, vantage point of me watching you as a creator, right? Number one, I think storytelling is great. So your marketing of this book is going to be very like, hey guys, this is why I'm doing it. So you're going to have that time to tell the story for a long period. And then you're very good at like asking for things without bragging or begging. You know what I mean? It's gotta be like, hey,
you can't sell stuff on TikTok by selling stuff,
right? And people are gonna know that. And but they're also, I think you're very easy to support. You know what I mean? Like you're not asking for much, and you are a childhood actor, which if you spun it the wrong way, I'd be like, I'm never supporting this pretentious prick ever. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Nepo baby.
Yeah, I think the book was such a good route for you, man, and it has like that longevity of selling forever. And then if it does well, if you're a great writer, which I know you are, you can spin it into maybe something that has nothing to do with drinks. Like we said, you have so much to kind of
like actual writing.
Yeah, maybe talking about being an actor. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, no, man. That's the goal is just to have stuff hopefully come to me, and then if it doesn't for a little bit, then I just gotta hunker down.
Make more TikToks.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could pick out of like again the 4 things we kind of mentioned, one of those, what do you like doing the best?
See, it shifts so often. Like again, like this time last year, I was about to release my second single that was going to be a part of this EP that was going to shape my year essentially. And then I did a concert to release that first single, and then the 3 songs that we were going to release on the EP that I performed, I was like, oh, these aren't very good. So I just didn't release them. And like back then, like a year ago, I would say that music is the thing that I want to chase right now. It's like right now, the thing that's shaping my day-to-day life is the book. Like I'm always on a call with my editor and the art director, and we're about to start doing the photos for it. And like that's really shaping my life right now.
Really?
And I really like when I do tapes for jobs right now, like I'm not really in it, like mentally. Like I'm thinking a lot more about the book, and that's shaping my day-to-day. So if I was right now to pick something to do for the rest of my life, I really like writing, and I really like the process of book making, and like I like doing that, but it doesn't really give me much money. So maybe in a few months I'll probably go, I really need a job, and I'll go do an acting job, and it'll just continually change.
Go make a TikTok. Well, it is like, again, we mentioned kind of like you have all these different things going on and one's going to come to you. But you kind of just mentioned like your priority is focused on, it's very hard to spread your priority and be a devoted actor and a content creator and a book writer. You've picked one right now, and it may take you a year to reap the benefits of it, but that's what you're picking. And you have to kind of accept that it's going to take you a while to kind of get there. Why does it take so long to fucking write a book?
I have no fucking clue, mate. I started the shop. My team wasn't great when I started shopping this book out. My acting team, because they just didn't think that I could sell a book as a TikToker because it's small screen stuff. Anyway, it took him a while to actually shop it around, and then we got a deal very quickly. So I was like, okay, let's fucking this book should have been out by now, like audience wise. Like it would have been really nice if it came out even last year because my audience was bigger, and it's always just going to go down and then have some peaks. But just when they said May 2025, I swallowed my boot. It was crazy.
Is it like something on their
It just
end?
takes so long. Like you've got, I finished the manuscripts the way they wanted it to be formatted. It's been with my editor now for 2 weeks. Probably be with her for another 2 weeks. And then she sent it back to me. I'll do the edits that she asked, and then it'll go to the copy editor. And it's like
still a
everything's
year.
like a 2-month process.
Handing it off to people.
We've got to do the photos, and then the art director's got to make the whole book essentially look how a book looks. Like it doesn't look like a book right now. It's just like pieces of paper with text on it.
Who's the publisher?
Norton, out of New York, which is good.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I'm very proud of it, and I think it's going to be something that's like me and my boyfriend share this exact same thing, that like we want to live the rest of our life creating stuff that we leave then behind, whether it be temporary, like the TikTok videos that like in 100 years no one's going to talk about TikTok probably, but like this book that at the very least I can have in my home and know that if anyone wants to buy it, they can buy it, and then it's a piece of me out in the world. I'm very proud of that. And it's the same with songs and movies. It's just like these pieces of me that people can have if they want.
Yeah, that is going to be a pain in the ass. I mean, is like maybe they take time to promote it with you. Like, how does it work structure wise? Of they don't pay you anything up front, right? Everything is
So they do. So but it's an advance on royalties. So it's like
right.
Yeah, they'll pay me. They pay me a certain amount. Essentially, whatever they trust me to sell, they pay me that straight up, and then hopefully I make more, so then I can make more.
Right, it's like that base. You got to earn that keep type of thing.
And then ideally, like it's a first book, you're not going to get a huge advance. Ideally, the book does really well, and then you get a second book and a way bigger advance, and then you can quit everything else I'm doing and just do book stuff.
I mean, I was going to ask you what's next, but it seems like this is next
for a long time, mate.
Yeah.
The sun's going to come out soon. I can fucking go outside and just like be in a park and maybe take the calls from a park instead of my basement apartment in New York.
Yeah.
But essentially, man, I'm just poring over my laptop and on calls all day about the format of this one drink recipe.
Yeah. At the same time, making content, kind of just keep it
pretty much,
moving.
man. I just got to keep it going. Like I'm going to take a break for a while, but again, like I don't think anyone will miss me until they realize that they missed me.
Oh, I miss you, bro.
I miss you, man.
Every time, thank you, man. I see you on my For You page. I'm like, man, he's back. I commented on it. I was like, he's fucking back. No, it's really cool, man. I appreciate you coming on. This was a really good conversation. Where can they find you?
Nic.Hamilton on TikTok, Nicholas Hamilton everywhere else. On Google, I imagine you'd be able to find me.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask you our favorite. We ask every guest 2 questions at the end of every podcast. This is going to be a good one for you. This is your life, nothing related, or it doesn't have to just be related to content creation. What has been your most humbling, down to the dumps moment, and then follow it up with what has been your greatest, highest achievement moment?
Whoa. Probably when I moved back to Australia during COVID, when I'd built up my life essentially. Like I had a car and a dog and a lease that I had to break to move back because I ran out of money. And I felt that failure thing was very intrinsic. And then I went back home, and I don't really like being back in Australia. It reverts me back to who I was when I was there, which is a bit of a prick. And then I quickly got a job and moved back to the States. And I think when I first moved here, and like I think 2 years ago I would have said that moving to LA at 18 and like starting my life would be my like proudest moment. I think moving to Jersey and to finally kind of feel like I was finding myself in a way, like knowing who I was, making the drinks, which felt I'd never really taken my life into my own hands before, and had I was posting videos in my own voice, making drinks, which is something I just like doing. And then people were like praising me for that. It was very validating. And then like that whole first few months where I met my now boyfriend of 2 years, and like someone who like we talk about it all the time, like 4 years, 5 years ago, I don't know if I would have been attracted to, because I think I viewed myself in a higher regard than being with someone that's not only wants me to be better, but wants to be better themselves. I kind of wanted to be followed around a little bit for a long time. And then nothing would make me happier now if I just got to follow him around for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think I'd like to say in a certain amount of years that the proudest moment is that I'm still with him. That'd be ideal.
I love that. We're going to clip that and show it to him.
Okay, great.
That's great, man. Well, thank you again.
Thank you, man.
Nic Hamilton, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Cheers.